This is Joe Fugate with Model Railroad Hobbyist, and I'm here at the Milwaukee Convention National Train Show with Tony Koester in the NMRA booth. So Tony, been hearing some things about the NMRA and some changes coming.
Yeah, good things for a change, you know.
Yes.
We are rolling out, as of this morning of the train show, we're rolling out the new brand identity of the National Model Railroad Association. We recognize that this is a day and age of almost instantaneous communication, so a lot more emphasis is being put on our website, and that's NMRA.org. And when you start extrapolating on that idea a little bit, you get into things like, gee, it'd be nice to have content at NMRA.org. And as of today, we should have a members-only section of it, and that means that things like data sheets and stuff that you pay for as an NMRA member, you should be able to get not only data sheets that are updated and new and things like that, but you ought to be able to get them 24/7. And so that's going to be rolling out shortly at the new website. The thinking behind that was that the NMRA is your portal to more fun in scale model railroading. We're not the fun people. I guess Kalmbach has always said model railroading is fun.
Yes.
But I think the NMRA certainly can add some more fun to it. And part of that is standards and recommended practices. Part of it is the social context of our convention here. But to that end, we need to underscore the brand of the organization, and that's really NMRA and NMRA.org. So the magazine that was years ago the Bulletin, and then it became Scale Rails, which is a good name, nothing wrong with that, now is NMRA Magazine. In other words, just like the American Association of Retired Persons had a magazine called Modern Maturity, which I get enough gray hair to subscribe to that, and I don't even want to pick that up. You know, you're like, ooh. And they changed that to AARP, the magazine, and the name of the organization, if you flip through every single page of that magazine, and I did, you'll not find American Association of Retired Persons anywhere. It's just AARP. Well, we're not going to go that far. We're still the National Model Railroad Association, but the brand is NMRA, so it's NMRA Magazine. And we want members to think that they are, it's not what we give you. You know, everybody says, so what do I get for my $38 or $58 or whatever? We got to have a good value proposition. Right. And with this online content in NMRA.org, we're going to have that. We're going to have a chance. We created the Diamond Club, and for $75 you can contribute to it and get a silver badge. For $750, a gold badge. For $7,500, you get a gold badge with a diamond. What you really get is an opportunity to contribute to the NMRA. And with that money, we're going to scan the 10,000 images that are in our archives. Oh. And that means that if you're sitting, Stephen Priest, the editor of now NMRA Magazine, yes, put it best. He says, if I'm sitting at home in my underwear at 2:30 in the morning, I should be able to access the NMRA's archives. And so a company that Stephen runs is doing the scanning work. And you can get a kind of a preview of what that looks like by going to www.atsfry, Santa Fe Railway.com, and they have already done that there. So that's what the NMRA is going to look like. And if you go there and you look for the photo files, you'll get thumbnails, and you can browse through those. And we think by November we'll have this in beta test. By January, this should be able to happen. And you can go through those, and because there's metadata attached to all these images, you can, you know, type in, show my prejudice, nickel plate Mikado or something like that, nickel plate depots, whatever we happen to have, you can see. It'll come up as a file, and you can look at that image. You know, probably a 72 dot per inch image, but you can look at it, and you can decide, yes, I need that print, and move it to your shopping cart. Now, this is whether or not you're an NMRA member, you can do this.
Oh.
And so the NMRA, you know, we're also a service organization, so we'd like to help researchers. And right now, members and researchers, you got to go to Chattanooga. It's a beautiful city. It's one of my favorite cities in the United States, but it's not where I usually go. And so I usually go to the web now. I mean, that's what you guys are, is the
Yes.
web. And so it would be nice if we could deliver product that way, so we can to both members and non-members. The catch is that when it comes time to check out, if you're an NMRA member, this is what you're going to pay. Let's say $2 an image. And if you're not an NMRA member, it's $4 an image. Now, you're not going to care if it's one image, but if there's 40 or 50 images out of our 100,000 images, and these aren't just photos, they're slides, they're drawings of bridges and stuff, they're painting and lettering diagrams of your favorite locomotive. I don't know what all we got. In fact, I specifically don't know what we have there. So I'm going to be one of the first customers. And when you get ready to check out, it says, well, if you're an NMRA member, these 100 images would have cost you $200. But because you're not, because you didn't enter that data in, it's going to cost you $400. Now, if you join right now, we'll give you the image for $200 plus your membership fee.
Great idea.
So it's a sales product. So here at the show, we're rolling out the new look of the NMRA, which is the NMRA.org brand and a very distinctive typeface. And the N looks like a tunnel portal. You know, it's just like a horseshoe.
Yeah.
There's a typeface called Howard Fat. And let me have that copy of the magazine. Let me have that. This is the new NMRA magazine. You can see it doesn't say scale rails anymore. And if you look at the N, you can see that it looks kind of like a tunnel portal. So if you saw this on our website, you'd see a couple of rails coming out of the bottom of it. And it looks like just like a tunnel portal. And you'd see the slogan, your portal to more fun in scale model railroading. And here in the upper right corner, you can see the new logo. Now this is going to cause some angst among the old heads particularly, but our old logo was a steam engine driver. Somebody told me that we're not running steam much anymore.
Oh yeah?
Bad rumor, but maybe it's true. And not only, so it's era specific. So the young guys that are modeling GP40-2s or -9s or whatever they're, you know, the aces and all these modern locomotives, I don't see that they're going to really relate to a steam engine driver. And through the middle of the driver, people ask us what the wrench is. And please, but it just shows that we have a communications problem. And as a result of that, we took a real hard look after this concept of the tunnel portal and NMRA.org and web and all that stuff, and we said, okay, graphically, is a tunnel portal the new NMRA logo? Nah, that's kind of our website. So what is a representation in graphic terms of the NMRA? And so we started thinking about, okay, what's our primary mission? Is it a social club? Is it a convention once a year? Nice things, good values, but maybe it's our standards and our RPs. We're kind of the underwriter laboratory of the model railroad world. So as a result of that, if you look at that in more global terms, it means the NMRA is for compatibility, interchangeability, interoperability, to use a really big word. And what is the best graphic example of interoperability? This works with that. Well, it could be two couplers coming together, but the NMRA's got a little bit of a checkered history where coupler design is concerned.
Yes.
We'd rather not bring up the horn hook business again.
Yes.
No, you can defend that and say, well, the X2F design, nobody ever really did it right. I don't want to hear that. Frankly, it didn't look like a coupler, and I don't want any part of it. And when Katie came out with the coupler, that was obviously it. But you cannot make a standard out of a proprietary design because then nobody else can meet it. So we had to wait till the day when all those copies are out because the patents are gone. But still, we didn't want to go back there. Well, the flanged wheel on a rail is probably as good a graphic representation of things working together. This guy's car and wheels and trucks on this guy's track. And if you got Atlas track and Bachman track and Intermountain wheels and Northwest Shortline wheels, that stuff all ought to work together. So the new logo that's somewhat reminiscent of Conrail's can opener logo, not by design, is just the arc of a flanged wheel on a rail, and the dot, meaning the axle, is the dot of .org.